Tonight on Y News, rice traders started to deliver cheaper rice in Metro Manila. Maynilad sets to resume normal water supply to customers tomorrow. And the Bureau of Internal Revenue has made the filing of income tax easier. Y News begins now.
From the UNTV News and Rescue Command Center in Quezon City, this is Y News.
Good evening. As promised to President Rodrigo Duterte, rice traders have started the delivery of thousands of sacks of rice for Metro Manila consumers. Ray Pelayo will tell us why.
Around 12,000 sacks of rice on board 14 trailer trucks were transported to Metro Manila yesterday by the Nueva Ecija Rice Millers Association. This rice variety can usually be bought at a retail price of 42 pesos per kilogram, but the traders decided to sell it at 39 pesos per kilo. This is just part of the 300,000 sacks of rice monthly that the group of traders promised to President Rodrigo Duterte while waiting for the rice imported by the National Food Authority.
Sa ngayon kasi lugi talaga siya. Nga lang, sa ngayon kasi talagang kailangan magsakripisyo kaming mga taga Nueva Ecija, mga rice miller, para makatulong dito sa Metro Manila.
This NFA-accredited rice outlet in Quezon City is among the stores selling the said rice from Nueva Ecija. This is just in time as what was remaining in their old stock, which they sell for 36 pesos per kilogram, are now almost dwindling.
Napipilitan din sila bumili kasi maganda rin.
Rice retailers in another market in Quezon City say consumers are still looking for NFA rice even if they are selling a variety at less than 40 pesos per kilo.
May bigas pa po kung before. Kasi kung pagkaanihanin, namimili ako talaga.
Yun ang hinahanap nila, NFA. Kasi malaki diferensya, maputi yun, maganda.
The National Food Authority says this project is a big help while they await the imported rice which they expect to arrive before the end of May.
So yan po ay patuloy hanggat hindi pa dumating yung ating inangkat na bigas na mababang presyo ng 27 o 32.
Ray Pelayo, UNTV, News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The Naval Forces Western Mindanao has apprehended a ship carrying tons of smuggled rice in the seas 15 nautical miles off Zamboanga, Sibugay Province last Saturday night. More than 27,000 sacks of rice, amounting to over 60 million pesos, were seized by authorities in an MV-registered vessel. But the investigation showed there have been 7,000 up to 8,000 sacks of rice from the said ship that were loaded into motor vehicles. 15 crew members, including 11 Bangladeshi and 4 Chinese nationals, were on board the ship. It was also discovered that the ship was carrying 34 undocumented Filipinos, including a minor. Good news to all Maynilad customers as the water company resumes a normal water supply allocation to all its customers tomorrow. Monokson will tell us why.
Mrs. Che took advantage of the time to wash their clothes. She received a text message from Maynilad that there will be another water service interruption tonight. Since April 1 until today, they were affected by the Maynilad Water Services interruption schedule.
Na-alarma rin kami dahil biglaan din. Tapos nakapag-ipon naman, kaya lang ngayon na-extend siya ng araw eh.
But Maynilad says their customers need not worry because starting tomorrow, they will resume normal operations of their service. Their water allocation is now gradually increasing since it depleted to 3% or equivalent to 50 million liters last April 1. Currently, Maynilad has begun the process of refilling its Bagbag reservoir. But Maynilad says they still have to implement a water service interruption tonight, starting from 10 p.m. until tomorrow, 4 a.m. Tuesday.
So the hope is matitigil na itong daily service interruptions na ito basta patuloy po yung magandang alokasyon para sa Maynilad sa mga susunod na araw.
Maynilad supplies 9 million residents in Metro Manila and nearby provinces, while Manila Water supplies 7 million customers. Meanwhile, the National Water Resources Board or NWRB says water reserves in Angat Dam is enough for Metro Manila this dry season. The water level in Angat Dam is currently at 206 meters, 10 meters higher than the normal level. There is also enough water supply for the irrigation system.
Sa level naman ng dam, sa tingin po natin makakaya yon hanggang sa panahon na i-expect natin magkaroon ng mga pag-ulan ngayong mga Mayo or Hunyo.
The rains last year contributed to the increase in the water level in Angat Dam. But NWRB says consumers must still conserve water despite the high water reserves this dry season. Mon Hokson, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The Bureau of the Internal Revenue has made the filing of income tax return easier. At exactly 5 p.m. today, BIR Region 7 in Quezon City has closed the door as the deadline of the filing of income tax return or ITR is over. The BIR had also been very strict in implementing the deadline without extension. According to BIR Region 7 Director Marina de Guzman, there were more filer who opted to file their ITRs online.
They don't need to see the BIR. Online na lang sila. And because we have the so-called electronic filing and payment system, hindi na rin sila pupunta dito except for the filing of the attachments.
The BIR targets to meet the target collection of 2 trillion pesos this year. Acting Secretary Minato Guevara says restoring the dignified image of the Department of Justice is a personal mission to him. Roderick Mendoza will tell us why.
Acting Secretary Minato Guevara wants to restore the dignified image of the Department of Justice amid the controversies besetting the agency. Speaking in today's flag ceremony, Guevara says he needs all of the officials and employees to start an inner revolution of values and to put the interest of the people above anything else. Like the imposing structures of the department, he notes that the system is somehow corroded within.
Now, I hate to say that our department, as well as most agencies attached to it, is suffering from a huge image problem. So it is my personal mission to restore the DOJ's dignified and respectable image, to make it a cornerstone and not a mere pillar of our justice system.
Guevara did not elaborate on this, but his predecessor, former Secretary Vitaliano Aguirre, has been in a hot seat leading to his resignation. The DOJ was criticized for dismissing the drug charges against suspected drug lords Peter Lim and Kerwin Espinosa. Guevara also says he is a low-profile backroom type of worker. For him, he should be the last to talk about matters under consideration or investigation of the department. This is to avoid making comments that may compromise the agency's position.
Nevertheless, I intend to keep cordial relations with the media, but these relations shall be based on the sole objective of presenting the truth. No fake news.
Guevara adds that he has no other agenda than to do his job well. He intimated he was President Duterte's lawyer at one time when the latter was still the mayor of Davao City. He was also a law partner of Executive Secretary Salvador Mejaldea for 3 decades. Roderick Mendoza, UNTV, News and Rescue, Manila.
Malacanang objects Facebook's partnership with Rappler and Verifiles. Meanwhile, the Presidential Communications Office also wants to meet with Facebook on their chosen fact-checkers. Rosalie Cos will tell us why.
Rappler and Verifiles are at times partisans. This is how Malacanang describes the two media organizations who were chosen by the social media website Facebook to be their fact-check partners. Presidential spokesperson Secretary Harry Roque says the supporters of President Rodrigo Duterte may consider shifting from using Facebook to other alternative social media websites shall this partnership continues.
I commiserate with those who object to the selection of Rappler and Vera Files because we know where they stand in the political spectrum.
The official also encourages users to voice out their concerns to Facebook.
The users of Facebook should make known their wishes to Facebook itself. There should be a more partial arbiter of the truth.
Meanwhile, Presidential Communications Undersecretary Lorraine Badoy confirms that they will have a meeting with Facebook about their chosen fact-checkers. Just this past week, some Facebook page who are known Duterte supporters have been blocked. Meanwhile, Verifal's President Ellen Tordesillas says their organization is an accredited fact-checker of International Fact-Checking Network because of being non-partisan and fair. Rappler has yet to give their reaction on this. Rosa Licoz, UNTV News and Rescue, Malacanang.
Let's take a look at the traffic situation now along some major roads in Metro Manila. On EDSA Muñoz, vehicles are fast-moving on the lane going to Balintawak. While there is moderate to heavy flow of vehicles on the lane going to SM North. On 5th Avenue in C3, Caloocan City, the traffic is green and go on the lane going to A. Bonifacio. Vehicles are also fast-moving on the lane going to A. Mabini. On Marcos Highway, Santolan in Pasig City, the traffic is bumper-to-bumper on the lane going to Masinag. While motorists on the lane going to Cubao are experiencing light flow of vehicles. A song composition of two friends from Iloilo wins a Song of Praise or ASOP Thirds weekly elimination in April. Leslie Longboan tells us why.
Music teacher Elmer John Bolaño and review assistant Rex Torremoro joined forces for their first song entry in a Song of Praise or ASOP. Their composition, Salamat Panginoon, won last night's third weekly elimination in April.
Melody-wise, there's enough na personality yung mga song sections para masabi ko na maganda naman ang clarity of song section.
Kasi maganda yung melody, very popish, maganda yung lyrics, yun lang ang choice of words, sabi nga ni Mo, no? And may potential siya.
Meanwhile, the 22-year-old composers encouraged the youth to create songs for the Lord.
Sa mga kabataan katulad namin, continue lang po sa pagko-compose, malay nyo, may kararatingan din talaga yung mga composition team.
Leslie Longboan, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Malacanang cites sovereignty for banning European Socialist Party Representative Giacomo Philibec from entering the Philippines last Sunday. Philibec is the Deputy Secretary General of the Party of European Socialists and one of those who criticized the anti-drug war of the Duterte administration. He was invited in Akbayan Party's Congress but was not allowed to enter the Mactan Cebu International Airport.
So we are not obliged to allow anyone into our territory if we do not want them in our territory. Unfortunately, the socialist leader was one of those that we determined as a person that we don't want to be in our territory. There is no rule under international law that will compel us to admit anyone whom we do not want to admit in our territory. That's the exercise of sovereignty.
A lawmaker calls for a live streaming of the government's environmental cleanup on Boracay Island and of the reconstruction of Marawi City. Senator Ralph Recto says the proposal aims to ascertain that the billions of pesos of funds allotted for the said two projects are on time, on budget, and done with proper specifications. The senator adds that the project DIME or digital imaging for monitoring and evaluation of the Department of Budget and Management and the Department of Science and Technology for this. With Project DIME, drones, satellites, and other technologies may be used to monitor the development of the government's projects. Former Justice Secretary Vitaliano Aguirre denies the alleged shredding of documents in the Department of Justice days before he resigned from his post. In a statement, the former secretary called the allegations malicious since he has no orders to shred documents. Aguirre adds if there was a shredding that took place, there is nothing wrong with that since private and public offices do this process. On a Facebook post of a certain Rene Bondal, several shredding machines that he claims were used to shred documents were even damaged. Next on Y News. Labor groups express dismay over a cancelled meeting with President Rodrigo Duterte today. The Manila International Airport Authority investigates the incident where a passenger lost a baggage just last weekend. Y News will be right back. I'm Darlene Basingan. Stay tuned for Angel Ocaso III. Good evening.
On Y News tonight, rice traders started to deliver cheaper rice in Metro Manila. Maynilad sets to resume normal water supply to customers tomorrow. The Bureau of Internal Revenue has made the filing of income tax return easier. As promised to President Rodrigo Duterte, rice traders have started the delivery of thousands of sacks of rice for Metro Manila consumers. Ray Pelayo will tell us why.
Around 12,000 sacks of rice on board 14 trailer trucks were transported to Metro Manila yesterday by the Nueva Ecija Rice Millers Association. This rice variety can usually be bought at a retail price of 42 pesos per kilogram, but the traders decided to sell it at 39 pesos per kilo. This is just part of the 300,000 sacks of rice monthly that the group of traders promised to President Rodrigo Duterte while waiting for the rice imported by the National Food Authority.
Sa ngayon kasi lugi talaga siya. Nga lang, sa ngayon kasi talagang kailangan magsakripiso kaming mga taga Nueva Ecija, mga rice miller, para makatulong dito sa Metro Manila.
This NFA-accredited rice outlet in Quezon City is among the stores selling the said rice from Nueva Ecija. This is just in time as what was remaining in their old stock, which they sell for 36 pesos per kilogram, are now almost dwindling.
Napipilitan din sila mamili kasi maganda rin.
Rice retailers in another market in Quezon City say consumers are still looking for NFA rice even if they are selling a variety at less than 40 pesos per kilo.
May bigas pa po akong before. Kasi kung pagkaanihanin, namimili ako talaga.
Yun ang hinahanap nila, kasi malaki diferensya, maputi yun, maganda.
The National Food Authority says this project is a big help while they await the imported rice which they expect to arrive before the end of May.
So yan po ay patuloy hanggat hindi pa dumating yung ating inangkat na bigas na mababang presyo ng 27 o 32.
Ray Pelayo, UNTV, News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Good news to all Maynilad customers as the water company resumes normal water supply allocation to all its customers tomorrow. Monokson will tell us why.
Mrs. Che took advantage of the time to wash their clothes. She received a text message from Maynila that there will be another water service interruption tonight. Since April 1 until today, they were affected by the Maynilad Water Services interruption schedule.
Na-alarma rin kami dahil biglaan din. Tapos sa kapag-ipon naman, kaya lang ngayon na-extend siya ng araw eh.
But Maynilad says their customers need not worry because starting tomorrow, they will resume normal operations of their service. Their water allocation is now gradually increasing since it depleted to 3% or equivalent to 50 million liters last April 1. Currently, Maynilad has begun the process of refilling its Bagbag reservoir. But Maynilad says they still have to implement a water service interruption tonight, starting from 10 p.m. until tomorrow, 4 a.m. Tuesday.
So the hope is matitigil na itong daily service interruptions na ito basta patuloy po yung magandang alokasyon para sa Maynilad sa mga susunod na araw.
Maynilad supplies 9 million residents in Metro Manila and nearby provinces, while Manila Water supplies 7 million customers. Meanwhile, the National Water Resources Board or NWRB says water reserves in Angat Dam is enough for Metro Manila this dry season. The water level in Angat Dam is currently at 206 meters, 10 meters higher than the normal level. There is also enough water supply for the irrigation system.
Sa level naman ng dam, sa tingin po natin makakaya yon hanggang sa panahon na i-expect natin magkaroon ng mga pag-ulan ngayong mga Mayo or Hunyo. No?
The rains last year contributed to the increase in the water level in Angat Dam. But NWRB says consumers must still conserve water despite the high water reserves this dry season. Mon Hokson, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The Bureau of Internal Revenue has made the filing of income tax returns easier. Grace Casin tells us why.
At exactly 5 p.m. today, BIR Region 7 in Quezon City has closed the door as the deadline of filing of income tax return or ITR is over. They had been very strict in implementing the deadline without extension. There had also been lesser last-minute submission of ITR today. According to BIR Region 7 Director Marina de Guzman, there were many who have used the BIR's online transaction in filing their ITR.
They don't need to see the BIR. Online na lang sila. And because of we have the so-called electronic filing and payment system, hindi na rin sila pupunta dito except for the filing of the attachments.
Meanwhile, the filing of ITR has been more convenient, although today was the last day of filing as BIR venues are air-conditioned. Food, water, and coffee were also given out for free. Transactions take only 15 minutes.
Mas mabilis na ngayon ang pagproseso nila at saka inaasikaso na kami, ina-assist na agad kami kung saan kami pupunta.
Napakabilis kasi kapasok lang namin tapos inginaid na kami doon. Basta mabilis siya. Tapos nakuha namin kaagad. Mabilis. Mas mabilis kaysa dati.
BIR targets to meet the target collection of 2 trillion pesos this year. Grace Casin, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Some labor groups expressed dismay after their meeting with the president was canceled today. Aiko Miguel will tell us why.
Labor groups expect that President Rodrigo Duterte to sign the executive order against contractualization alongside the supposed meeting today. But the meeting was cancelled and there was no EO issued by Malacanang. This prompted some labor groups to hold a protest in front of the Department of Labor and Employment and called on Secretary Silvestre Bello III and the President to prioritize the issue on contractualization.
Sa aming mga manggagawa na para bang binibitin ang pagpapaasan niya sa amin, na nangako siya sa mga manggagawa na wawakasan niya na ang contractualization o yung endo na yan.
According to Alan Tanhusay, Associated Labor Unions Trade Union Congress of the Philippines President, one of the ways to end and ban contractualization is to criminalize all forms of contractualization.
Makakalungkot dahil napakalakas ng lobby, napakalakas ng pagkontra ng mga employees groups at ng mga labor contractors dito sa ginawang EO ng mga labor groups.
The Malacanang didn't confirm if there was a set meeting of labor groups with President Duterte, but presidential spokesperson Secretary Harry Roque assures that ending contractualization is a priority of the administration.
The President wants it as soon as possible. We all know that Labor Day is May 1, so I would think that it will come out on or before May 1.
Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
Malacanang cites sovereignty for banning European Socialist Party representative Giacomo Philibec from entering the Philippines last Sunday. Philibec is the Deputy Secretary General of the Party of European Socialists and one of those who criticized the anti-drug war of the Duterte administration. He was invited in Akbayan Party's Congress but was not allowed to enter Mactan Cebu International Airport.
So we are not obliged to allow anyone into our territory if we do not want them in our territory. Unfortunately, the socialist leader was one of those that we determined as a person that we don't want to be in our territory. There is no rule under international law that will compel us to admit anyone whom we do not want to admit in our territory. That's the exercise of sovereignty.
The Department of the Interior and Local Government sets to file charges against barangay officials who failed to establish Anti-Drug Abuse Council or BADAC. Neil Maribuhok will tell us why.
Out of more than 44,000 barangays in the country, there are only about 9,000 who established the Barangay Anti-Drug Abuse Council or BADAC. According to Department of the Interior and Local Government Undersecretary Martin Dino, the creation of BADAC is mandatory under the current law, and if officials will not comply, there will be sanctions.
Magsasampa na kami ng case dun sa mga barangay captain at barangay official na hindi nag-submit ng BADAC dahil mandatory yan.
BADAC serves as an auxiliary to law enforcement agencies in the eradication of illegal drugs in communities. Dino says they will oblige barangay officials to submit list of drug users and pushers.
Ngayon, pagka nag-raid ang police o ang ating PIDEA na hindi nag-submit ng drug list ang barangay captain o ang barangay council, mananagot sila.
But League of Barangays National President Edmond Abisamis appeals to the DILG to have a solid evidence against the barangay officials.
Ano yung rule or regulation na magiging basehan ng kaso allegedly na violate? Siguro dapat merong batas, merong hindi nag-comply doon sa batas.
Abisamis adds that the submitted drug list should be carefully verified, especially now the barangay elections is drawing near.
Ay posibleng magamit o mapagsamantalahan ng iba para masiraan yung pwede nilang makalaban o yung mga taong hindi naman susuporta doon sa mga tatakbo.
Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
The Manila International Airport Authority and flight carrier Cebu Pacific are investigating the incident where a passenger lost a baggage on Saturday evening. But the MIAA said there is a possibility that it didn't happen at the NAIA terminal. Here's why from May Bermudez.
Laptop, perfumes, and chocolates. These were the things that were reportedly lost from the baggage of an OFW when she arrived at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport on Saturday. The OFW says she came from Hong Kong via Cebu Pacific Flight 5J113. It was when she arrived to the terminal when she found out that her things were lost. She immediately reported the incident to the airline company. In the release statement from Cebu Pacific, they are now coordinating with the ground handlers of Hong Kong International Airport to detect where the baggage items were lost. In the initial investigation of MIAA, the weight of the baggage of the complaining passenger was still the same when she checked in and checked out in the airport.
Ang initial report na nakakating sa akin, halos pareho lang yung bagahe na pag-check-in at pagkuha ng bagahe rito. So meron din yung timbang ho yan, yung parehong timbang sa pag-check-in at pagdating dito.
As of now, MIAA still probes where exactly the items got lost and who the perpetrator of the crime was.
As regards kung saan nawala, hindi po natin may certain, pero based on dun ho sa footage tsaka yung sa aming nakuhang mga litrato dun sa pagdating, ay malamang hindi ho rito.
May Bermudez, UNTV News and Rescue, Pasay City.
The Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency and the Malabon City Police have dismantled a shabu storage facility in Malabon. PIDEA believes that this is connected to the shabu laboratory that they raided in another barangay in Malabon and in Batangas. Monokson tells us why.
Barrels containing methanol were found by the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency and the Malabon City Police in a residential area in Malabon. PIDEA says methanol is a chemical used in making shabu. The said house is a shabu storage facility connected with the shabu lab that they previously raided in Barangay Tinajeros and in Batangas City. The local police says syndicates now use residential areas as storage facilities.
Namimili lang sila ng mga hindi halatang lugar. Katulad dito, kung makikita nyo yung very choosy sila sa mga lugar na hindi nyo paghihinalaan pagdududaan.
all chemical used by the syndicate in manufacturing shabu in their laboratory came from the storage facility. Aside from chemicals found in the house, there are also packs of cigarettes that the syndicates use to lure law enforcers. The PDEA identified the group as the Dragon Wu drug syndicate that operates in Myanmar, Laos, and Thailand. PDEA believes that they have ended the operation of the drug syndicate with the dismantling of the said laboratories and storage facilities.
Pananaw ko, ito na yung pinakakompleto na kung sa pagluluto, ito na yung Ricardo dahil naroon yung laboratory doon, sa laboratory, and then ito yung pinaka-imbakan.
PDEA is still in pursuit of the personalities involved in the drug trade syndicate. PDEA also thanked the Chinese government in giving them leads and information regarding the said laboratories and storage facilities. Mon Hokson, UNTV News and Rescue, Malabon City.
Up next on Y News. The new Philippine envoy to Brazil promises to promote Philippine tourism and investment. Outgoing PNP Chief Ronald De La Rosa emotionally bids farewell to the PNP. Stay tuned for Darlene Basingan. I'm Angelo Castro III. Good evening.
On Y News. Rice traders started to deliver cheaper price for rice in Metro Manila. Maynilad sets to resume normal water supply to customers tomorrow. And the Bureau of Internal Revenue has made the filing of income tax return easier. Good news, Maynilad Water Services says it will resume normal operations starting tomorrow. Maynilad's water allocation is now gradually increasing since it depleted to 3% or equivalent to 50 million liters last April 1. Maynilad says it expects, except for last water service interruption at 10 p.m. tonight until 4 a.m. tomorrow, water service or water supply will be back to normal henceforth.
So the hope is matitigil na itong daily service interruptions na ito basta patuloy po yung magandang alokasyon para sa Maynilad sa mga susunod na araw.
Meanwhile, the National Water Resources Board or NWRB assures that water reserves in Angat Dam is enough for Metro Manila this dry season.
Sa level naman ng dam, sa tingin po natin makakaya yon hanggang sa panahon na i-expect natin magkaroon ng mga pag-ulan ngayong mga Mayo or Hunyo.
Around 12,000 sacks of rice on board 14 trailer trucks were transported to Metro Manila yesterday by the Nueva Ecija Rice Millers Association. This rice variety can usually be bought at a retail price of 42 pesos per kilogram, but the traders decided to sell it at 39 pesos per kilo. This is just part of the 300,000 sacks of rice monthly that the groups of traders promised to President Rodrigo Duterte while waiting for the rice imported by the National Food Authority.
Sa ngayon kasi lugi talaga siya. Nga lang, sa ngayon kasi talagang kailangan magsakripisyo kaming mga taga Nueva Ecija, mga rice miller, para makatulong dito sa Metro Manila.
The Bureau of Internal Revenue has made the filing of income tax return easier. At exactly 5 p.m. today, BIR Region 7 in Quezon City has closed the door as the deadline of the filing of income tax return or ITR is over. The BIR had also been very strict in implementing the deadline without extension. According to BIR Region 7 Director Marina de Guzman, there were more filers who opted to file their ITRs online.
They don't need to see the BIR. Online na lang sila. And because we have the so-called electronic filing and payment system, hindi na rin sila pupunta dito except for the filing of the attachments.
The BIR targets to meet the target collection of 2 trillion pesos this year. The new Philippine ambassador to Brazil will promote the Philippine tourism and investment. Ambassador Marichu Mauro also met with the Filipino community in Brazil for the first time. This report will tell us why. In a meet-and-greet event that took place in the Philippine Embassy in Brasilia earlier, newly appointed envoy of the Philippines, Ambassador Marichu Mauro, presented her plans for the welfare of our fellow Filipinos.
Unang-una, nagpapasalamat ako sa pagkakataon na ito na makapanayam kayo sa UNTV. So makakaasa po ang ating mga kababayan na pangangalagaan namin ang kanilang mga karapatan at benepisyo dito sa Brazil at sa mga ibang bansa na sakop namin.
Mauro says her office is open to hear all the problems being faced by our fellow Filipinos residing in Brazil, Colombia, Guyana, Suriname, and Venezuela. Mauro also plans to promote tourism and entice investors in the Philippines to contribute in strengthening the country's economy.
We will promote the Philippines as a tourist destination and also as an investment site.
Ang inaasahan ko po bilang presidente ng community natin dito sa Brazil is that mapaayos ang life ng mga kababayan na through Ambassador Mauro na mag-assist siya at bigyan niya kami ng support. Alam kong makikinig siya.
Ambassador Mauro has worked in the Department of Foreign Affairs for 27 years and was a former Consul General in Milan, Italy for 4 years before President Rodrigo Duterte appointed her as ambassador. Darlene Basingan, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines. Oil companies will implement an increase in the price of petroleum products beginning tomorrow. Based on the announcement of Flying V, effective 6 a.m. tomorrow, the price of gasoline per liter will be 35 centavos, 55 centavos for biodiesel, and 80 centavos for kerosene. Other companies are also expected to implement oil price hike. The increase in the price of oil is based on the price of petroleum products in the world market. Outgoing PNP Chief Ronald De La Rosa emotionally bids a farewell to the Philippine National Police. Grace Cassian will tell us why.
Unemotional Ronald De La Rosa stood before his PNP personnel in his last flag raising ceremony as Chief of the Philippine National Police. De La Rosa expressed his gratitude to the men and women of the PNP for honorably performing their duties.
Ilang beses tayo tumumba, bumangon tayo, lumaban. Baka yung iba sa inyo hindi na makapunta sa aking retirement at saka change of command. Kaya ito ngayon, nandito ko, nagpapasalamat. Sana kung ano yung binigay ninyong trabaho,
The PNP chief also made an apology if ever he was not able to fulfill their expectation of him as Chief of the National Police.
Kung ako man ay naging mabuti or masama na ama na organization, it's up for you to judge. Kayo nang humusga. Kung marami man akong pagkukulang, well, sorry lang. Yun lang talagang kinaya ko. Pasensya na kayo sa isang ordinaryong chief PNP na isang probinsyano. Yun lang inabot ng aking kakayanan.
He appealed to the policemen to support his classmate, incoming PNP Chief Police Director Oscar Albayalde, and continue the war on drugs. Earlier, the Philippine Military Academy in Baguio City has given De La Rosa a testimonial honor.
Sa amin kasi, sa mga PMER, parang lalong-lalo na pag mag-general ka, parang kulang yung career mo pag before you retire, hindi ka mabigyan ng testimonial honors doon sa PMA. That's where you start and gusto mo rin doon ka rin mag-end.
De La Rosa is from the PNPA Sinagtala class of 1986. He should have retired last January 21 in his 56th birthday, but it was extended by the President for 3 months until April 21. Grace Casin, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
news, Malacanang defers to comment on the United States of America's missile attack against Syria. Presidential spokesperson Secretary Harry Roque says the safety of close to 1,000 Filipinos in the said country is their priority. America, together with Britain and France, launched airstrikes against Syria this weekend after the alleged chemical weapons attack of the Syrian government against rebels.
So inaatupag muna po natin yung kanilang kaligtasan at tsaka na po tayo gagawa ng policy statement pagdating mismo doon sa issue ng pagbobomba ng Syria.
A sunflower maze in Pangasinan attracts tourists as the hot season begins. Leslie Longbowen tells us why.
Hot dry season equals sunflower season. The Sunflower Maze of Tayug, Pangasinan is a perfect destination for flower enthusiasts and tourists. The maze takes 10 to 30 minutes to complete. Hundreds visit the place for its family-friendly environment and Instagrammable landscapes.
Sobrang ganda at sobrang daming sunflower. Actually, matagal ko nang gustong pumunta dito at ngayon ko lang na-experience dito at sobrang sulit.
Ngayon, mas maze na talaga siya like before. Kasi yung before, iikot ka lang. Ngayon talagang pag dead end, hindi mo malalaman. Babalik ka talaga, parang maze.
The three 1,200 square meter sunflower mazes are open to boost tourism in the mainly farming region.
Tuwing summer lang, tinatanim ang sunflower. Kaya tuloy-tuloy naming pinagpatuloy na magtanim ng sunflower para makilala ang bayan ng Tayug bilang sunflower capital ng.
The ticket to sunflower mazes costs 100 pesos for adults and 80 pesos for students and senior citizens. The destination is open until May 31. Leslie Longbowen, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Those are the reasons behind the news, April 16, 2018. I'm Darlene Basingan. Because we need to know, we will always ask why. Thank you for watching Y News.